The following program is a public access production. Comcast is required to provide time on this channel and make it available pursuant to franchise agreements with the communities we serve. Comcast is not affiliated with the following program or the producers of public access programming and is not responsible for the content. The following program does not reflect the opinions of Comcast or its affiliates.
I'd call the meeting in order for the Village of Round Lake Beach. There's a public hearing on Monday, December 12th, 2016. Please call the roll.
Trustee Husk.
Here.
Trustee Valdez.
Here.
Trustee Wallace.
Here.
Trustee Butler.
Here.
Trustee Nichols.
Here.
Trustee Bennis.
Here.
Mayor Hill.
Here. Let the record show a quorum is in attendance. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second by Trustee Butler, second by Trustee Bennis. We have a motion and a second. Any corrections, additions, deletions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is approved as written. We only have one amendment of business on this public hearing with the 2016 tax levy. I'll turn over the meeting now to our Finance Director, Kevin Bueso, for the presentation of the tax levy.
Thank you, Mayor, the board, and staff. So as the mayor mentioned, today's hearing is basically is to present the proposed tax levy for 2016. This proposal was discussed at the November 21st Finance Committee meeting. Some of the items that we'll go over today will be the economic environment where the village operates under, and also some of the financial challenges. And then we'll go over the details of the 2016 proposed tax levy. Finally, we'll open the floor for questions, if any. So the first item that we'll talk about is the economic environment and the state and its finances. One of the items that we're talking about is the uncertainty and the budget. As you know, there is a stopgap budget that is coming up to its end on the December 31st, and there is no really compromise at any at the state level where that budget would be extended. We're talking about 2 fiscal years now, almost, or we're going to start with 2 fiscal years at the state level without a budget. Unfunded liability is a big topic or large topic, and that we're all keeping an eye on because it's a large amount that the state is recording, and that's $174 billion in unfunded liability for their pension plans and the healthcare plans they have. We just checked the comptroller's website, and there is a $10.5 billion in the back bills that they haven't paid due to all the different issues that they're going through. One of the final items that we're all really interested in finding out, because there's no there's no room where they are negotiating on these, is at the governor level they want a property tax freeze. The legislature is not very keen to that. So one of these items that will directly impact our finances depending on which way they go to. So the property tax freeze, they've been talking about it. This is one of those items that they really want, the governor really wants. And so we're keeping an eye on how that's going to impact our ability to levy property taxes in future years. Another challenge that we're taking a look at is the continued increase of police and IMRF pension costs. So this year, the police pension cost for the village is estimated at $1.3 million. For fiscal year 2018, we're budgeting $1.4 million. Again, one of the items is the police pension. The interest that or the return on investment that they saw wasn't as high as they estimated, and that is not unique to the Village of Round Lake Beach Police Pension Fund. That's across several pension funds. Another item that or challenge that we're seeing is how do we, or can we, get back to the 2008 levels in property values? Since 2008, the EAV, or the value of the village, or of the property within the village, corporate limit, has decreased by 32%, or $136.3 million. A lot of financial analysts look at these as when you have a credit card and this is your line of credit or your limit. Even though the village is not subject to the non-home rule, non-home rule communities do have a limit of 8.65% on these number. So when financial analysts are looking at our bonds and how much debt we have out there, in a way, they're also looking at how other communities are using these as a percentage of the EAV. And then we'll cover a little bit more in detail that during the budget process as well. But this is one of those challenges that the village board and management is addressing. Another challenge is the facility replacement and asset replacement fund. As you know, during fiscal year 2017, the first year that the village implemented a new fund called Asset Management Fund, or Asset Replacement Fund. So that fund takes a look at three areas. One is what is the funding needed for items that were not replaced over the last 15 years or so. And this is only critical items, so it doesn't include everything. And what we estimate is $758,926. Now, in this fund, we're actually budgeting for depreciation. And if we were to include this number, the entire amount for fiscal year 2018, that number would be $333,722. And that, again, is only critical items. So management understands that this number may not be, we may not be able to budget for the full amount, but recognizing that amount is key because then we can at least allocate a portion of it. And then we also look at what would be needed if we were to replace these items over the next 5 fiscal years. And so that number is $2,025,080. Within the village, some of the things that we look at is, do we have a sustainable employee base? And management and the village board believes that 77 full-time equivalent employees is sustainable, and that what that means is basically that the village can budget for average salary increases of 2.5%. And now we know that the health insurance, because we just talked to our insurance broker, that it increased by 2.59%. Again, we're lucky because we have heard of other municipalities or other companies that the health insurance cost has been a lot higher than 2.59%. And then workers' comp and general liability increasing by 3%. How are we responding to these challenges? One is through capital planning. There is a 20-year capital plan in place that we, in fact, just over a week or 2 weeks ago, we took a look at how do we need to adjust that capital plan over the next 4 years. So this is all part of that 20-year capital plan that the village board has approved and that management has been directed to implement. And one of those items that we're proud of is that just over the last year, there was a road replacement that's been almost completed now. Again, also including or realizing that depreciation needs to be budgeted within that facility replacement plan or the fund itself. The next thing, again, talking about sustainable employees. How do we sustain these employees? So that has to do with private partnerships. So maybe looking at some of the core areas that we are not, that the efficiencies or that the private sector may do better than the village, then we look at those partnerships. participating in groups so that we can purchase different items or different services at a lower cost, and using the technology that we have in place. Neighborhood rehabilitation, this has to do with this is one way that the village can improve the value of properties, or look into at least starting that. Keep in mind there was a decrease of 32% or $132 million in EAV lost. With neighborhood rehabilitation, we're not looking into building the entire amount, but at least starting the process. And that has to do with the village board passed that vacant property registration, which gave us a lot of access to information that we can target those people that own properties that have remained vacant for a long time. Same thing with foreclosed properties. So we know who to hold accountable for those properties to be kept up to code. Now, looking at the actual proposed tax levy for 2016, these are the different elements that are included in there. One of them is the police pension. So again, 1,177,414 of the total tax levy is for the police pension, and this number is based on the actuarial recommendation. So it's going above and beyond the minimum requirement by the state, and that is one of the goals is that in 20 years to be 100% funded. That's the formula that's used to come up with this number. Again, it's more than what the state requires. Liability insurance of $365,000. IMRF of $150,000, corporate amount of $779,167, and finally the police protection item, which is $99,559. So when you look at all of these items, these 4 items here drive the number for corporate or the general fund. If this number goes up, then this number decreases depending on the total tax levy. And so the total tax levy, proposed tax levy for 2016 is $2,571,140. How does this levy, or the 2016 proposed tax levy, compares to 2015? So when you look at the 2015 tax levy, which was $2,508,429, increasing it by 2.5% goes to $2,571,140. Again, you looked at the police pension increased by about $70,000, and then the police protection line went up by $2,000. So that means that there is less funding for the general fund. And that's accounted for. So the actual tax rate for 2015 was 0.864 as proposed, and the rate would go to 0.881%, so less than 1%. Now, what is the impact on a property tax bill? We'd like to take a look at 2 scenarios. So the first one is if you take a home that was valued at $138,240 in 2015 and increases by 0.54%, it goes to $138,982. So the property tax bill for the villages portion goes from $398 to $407, so an increase of $9. The second scenario that we take a look at is, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, the average value for a property within Round Lake Beach is $150,000. So if we were to apply the proposed rate of 0.881%, it would go from $431 to $440, or a $9 increase. What are the assumptions that we're looking into here for these numbers, or these rates, to be the actual rates in 2016? So the assumptions are that the EAV, or the value of the property within the village of Round Lake Beach, corporate limits would go up by 0.54%. The inflation rate would be at 7%. So in this case, the projected EAV would go from $290,378,658 to $291 $937,609. And so the projected rate would go from 0.864 to 0.881%. So again, less than 1%. When we take a look at the 2015 tax rate, so for every dollar that is paid in property taxes, who gets what basically? So for every dollar that it's paid for property taxes, 68 cents of that dollar go to the school district. 8 cents go to the fire protection district. 5 cents goes to the park district. 5 cents would go to the village of Round Lake Beach. 5 cents would go to the library district. 4 cents would go to Lake County. 2 cents would go to College of Lake County. And then you have 3 cents going to other taxing districts, so that includes the township, forest preserve, and so forth. So when you combine these rates, what percentage of the total dollar goes to the village? And over the last couple of years, what we have seen is a decrease, but because of there have been an increase in inflationary rates, then the village's total of the tax rate has gone from 6.34% in 2008 to 5.60 now in 2015. So again, as the other taxing districts are increasing their rates, then our rate as a percentage of the total has decreased. Okay, so with these, now I'll open the floor for any questions.
Well, thank you, Kevin. Anyone of the trustees have any questions for Kevin? Anyone in the public have any questions for Kevin on our tax levy? Well, thank you, Kevin, for the presentation.
Thank you.
If there are no questions, ask for a motion to close this hearing.
So moved. Second.
Motion by trustee Wallace, second by trustee Husk. We have a motion to second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? This hearing is closed. We'll start our board meeting in just a few minutes. Let's call the meeting to order for the Village of Round Lake Beach. This is our board meeting for Monday, December 12th, 2016. Please call the roll.
Trustee Husk.
Here.
Trustee Valdez. Trustee Wallace.
Here.
Trustee Butler.
Here.
Trustee Nichols. Trustee Bennis.
Here.
Mayor Hill.
Here. Let the record show a quorum is present. Would all please rise and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Any additions or deletions of the agenda? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Nichols, second by trustee Valdez. We have a motion to second. Any corrections, additions, deletions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is approved as written. We have our council meeting minutes from November 28, 2016. Any corrections, clarifications? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Butler, second by trustee Wallace. We have a motion to second. Once again, any questions, corrections, clarifications? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Those minutes are approved. This month, we have quite a large sum of expenditures. We had a big bond issue for our reconstruction projects. We had approval expenditures of $2,756,608.42. Some of those larger items in there were our fresh water from Lake Michigan through CLC Jawa, about $146,000. Our health care for the month, a little over $111,000. And bond payment to Amalgamated Bank of Chicago was over $2 million. So we have those, plus many other bills that the staff all looked through, the trustees have all looked through. Any of the trustees have any questions or concerns about any of the bills this month? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Husk, second by trustee Bennis. We have a motion to second. Any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Butler.
Aye.
Trustee Nichols. Aye. Trustee Bennis.
Aye.
Trustee Husk.
Aye.
Trustee Valdez.
Aye.
Trustee Wallace.
Aye.
That's approved 6-0. We have no ratifications tonight, so we'll move right on to our committee reports. Any standing committee reports tonight?
Mayor, could I just let everybody know that the next household chemical waste drop-off in Gurnee for Swalco will be January 14th, and you do need to make an appointment for that. You can do that on swalco.org. And there is another episode of the Lake County Dirty Jobs, and that explains the local recycling process. It's actually pretty interesting, and that can also be found at swalco.org.
Great, thank you.
Mayor, if I can say, since everybody's here tonight, Shop with the Cop was awesome.
Yes,
Thank
good
you
job.
to all of you. Great job. You guys always do a wonderful job, but you made our whole village shine with this one again. Thank you so much for all you do.
Any other reports? Okay, move on to Mayor's report. We have just one item here tonight, very important item though. We have the appointment of Deputy Chief, Chief of Police, and I'll turn it over to Chief Rivera.
Thank you, Mayor and the board. I'm very excited. This is my first appointment as chief, so I'm very excited about this. If I could have Wayne Wildy step up. Come on, Julie. She didn't want to come up here, but I'm going to make her come up here. So Wayne Wildy has been with us for 20 years in March. He's been here for quite a while. He is a graduate of Winona State. He has his bachelor's from there. He is joined today by his wife, Julie, his 3 kids, Ben, Justin, and Alexi, his mom, Joy, and his dad, Wayne Sr. They're here to see this. So Wayne has held pretty much every position in the police department. He's been a field training officer, special operations unit. He is an EVOC, which is basically emergency vehicle operation instructor, baton instructor. The list goes on and on. He was commander of investigation. So needless to say, Wayne is very qualified and is excellent for this. I did tell his mom, she was mentioning that Wayne was very particular about his cars. So I told her I'd had a little anecdote. When I first started here, Wayne Wildy was a field training officer, and I was sharing a car with him, and I thought, wow, I want to put on the best show for this field training officer. So at the end of my shift, I took his car to the car wash. I paid for it myself, had it nice and clean through the machine, brought it back, and I said, here you go, Wayne. He yelled at me because the machine leaves swirl marks. He only wanted it hand cleaned. So needless to say, I'm going to make him wash my car now. But I present to you Wayne Wildy as the deputy chief. If you could step up to the clerk, Wayne. Yeah.
I, Wayne Wildy,
I, Wayne Wildy,
do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of Deputy Chief
the duties of the office of Deputy Chief
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. After you shake everybody's hand, I need you to sign 2 copies, okay?
President
Mayor,
Swain.
thank you so much.
Sign both of them. Yes, please. And this one's yours to take. Perfect. Thank you.
Very much. That's it, Mayor, and then basically at the end, when we're done, sir, if it's okay, and the board, maybe take some pictures after the meeting is over.
Certainly.
Thank you very much, sir.
For those of you that don't know, this appointment is the chief's appointment with my advice and consent, and I strongly advise that, yes, Wayne's a great person for this position, and I'm sure he'll do well and make us all very proud. So, Wayne, we're looking forward to big things. Is there a clerk's report tonight?
No, there is not, thank you.
Okay, we'll have a couple items of business on the agenda tonight. We have item A. Is an ordinance providing for the levy of taxes for the village of Round Lake Beach, Lake County, Illinois, for tax levy year 2016, to be collected in the year beginning January 1st, 2017, and ending December 31st, 2017. We've got the tax levy as low as possible for several years. This year, we're going to be increasing it by modest 2.5%. As you probably saw in the tax levy hearing if you were here, most of our salaries are going up 2.5%. The insurance going up a little over 2.5%. The liability and workers' comp is going up 3%. And unfortunately, the biggest part that's going up the most is the pensions. That's going up over 7%. So we got to really keep an eye on that in order to continue to staff the village properly. We're gonna have to raise a little higher than we have in previous years. It'll be on the average tax bill less than $1, probably about 75 cents per month. So it's not gonna be a big impact to the residents, but just hate to increase it at all, but fortunately to keep the village running, we need to. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by trustee Wallace, second by trustee Husk. We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Valdez.
Aye.
Trustee Wallace.
Aye.
Trustee Butler.
Aye.
Trustee Nichols. Trustee Bennis.
Aye.
Trustee Husk.
Aye.
That's approved 6-0. Item B, is a resolution authorizing the purchase of certain property located within the village of Round Lake Beach, Illinois, in an amount not to exceed $5,800. Property address is 1614 and 1616 Cherokee. This piece of property is near Fairfield Park, and we own a lot of other property in the area. It may be of good use to the village in the future for issues over by that park, or we might end up selling it to other homeowners in the area to kind of make the lots bigger and expand the village, so you don't have a lot of small lots in that area. But at this price, it's a very good investment for the village. We've been purchasing different lots throughout the village that are individual lots or double lots like this, that we have areas that we can, again, do something in the future or increase the lot sizes in that area itself. Any questions by the board? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Motion by trustee Valdez, second by trustee Butler. We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Please call the roll.
Trustee Wallace.
Aye.
Trustee Butler.
Aye.
Trustee Nichols.
Aye.
Trustee Bennis.
Aye.
Trustee Husk.
Aye.
Trustee Valdez.
Aye.
That's approved 6-0. That was all of our business tonight. We don't have any executive session coming up. It is now time for open to public purposes. I can't even talk tonight. Open to public participation. Anyone has a question or comment for the board, please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and either state your comment or ask your question. Well, thank you all for being here tonight. We look forward to seeing you again next year. There's the last board meeting for the year, so Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everyone, and we'll see you next year. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Butler, second by trustee Bennis. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you.